This is the MoCo Show Podcast. If it's happening in Montgomery County, we're talking about it. Here are your hosts, Steve Solomon and Alex Saronis.
Welcome to the MoCo Show Podcast. I'm Steve Solomon along with Alex Saronis. This is episode 55 of the show. Today we're live at Denizens in downtown Silver Spring, and we're here celebrating Denizens' 5th anniversary party, right?
And our 55th show.
That's
so,
true.
you know, we're
Five.
trying to get the 5 thing going.
The themes are all 5. And the party started at 5 p.m., so very 555.
And there's 555 people here.
The devil, 555 or 666. No,
well,
but we want to thank...
I stopped numbering the podcasts because I don't know, there's just so many. I don't think anyone's going to be like, remember 74,
That's
so
true.
I just figure we'll just say where we are and date them.
Yeah, I guess so. It doesn't matter too much. I don't think anyone remembers specific ones, but just for our records, I like to keep it that way so I know. Because our friend Dave Golden asked me when we were in Burtonsville the first time, I'm like, well, that was episode 47 on May 22nd. So it helps that way. But this is pretty cool. Julie, who we had on, Julie Verratti, owner and chief branding officer of Denizens, was on with us just a couple weeks ago when we were here. And she said, come on back for the 5th anniversary party. It'll be fun. There's a band playing. There's the drag show. There's a DJ coming. So we're like, sure, we'll come back, and absolutely. And Sabra, who's their marketing manager, set this up for us. So we're happy to be here. Outside was the Naptown Brass Band.
They were playing When the Saints Go Marching In as soon as I came here.
They were rocking out there in the beer garden outdoors. We're, as you can see, indoors today. It was pretty loud out there and hot, and I don't know if we could have heard ourselves if we were talking out there. So they put us back in the downstairs while that's going on, and it was packed out there. You can hear them right now. I hear the Naptown Brass Band going. And the House of Stone drag queens will be coming up. A fun show, the drag show. And DJ Kenny M, who I'm not familiar with, will be performing tonight as well. So a big party for Denizens' 5th anniversary. They're obviously doing very well because they got a packed house here. And it's Saturday, too. So I am assuming a lot of people are coming out for that. But we're just happy that they invited us back. Julie must like us, I guess, if she wants us back. That's nice because we liked her. So that was cool.
So I had someone send me a message, and they said, what do you do on your phone during the podcast? So to show them, in a little bit, we're going to be talking about a guy named Warren Crutchfield, and I'm pulling up the story on Warren Crutchfield. So I have all my tabs, and I have them ready. So that's what I'm doing. You're
not just texting other people and not paying attention because, if you're at dinner with your parents, like, Alex, put that phone down. Stop with your MoCo Show stuff. You're here to see us. Now put that down. And I obviously am a paper and pen person myself and a folder person. I'm old, so my phone would be useless because it's a BlackBerry. So it'd be pretty useless during.
But it's a new one. It's a very nice one.
It is the 8530 curve. So.
The camera works, and
it does have. I have internet capabilities.
No flashlight.
No flashlight.
No flashlight.
Well, if I just hit the screen, it's sort of a flashlight. But see, that's the beauty now of watching us on YouTube and Facebook. You can see what we're doing because you can see what's going on. There's Alex's list of all the stuff right there.
My MoCo Show pop socket. I know it's hard to see.
But you can, of course, always, if you're watching us now, you can always listen as well on iTunes, Google Podcasts, the MoCo Show websites.
Though a lot of you watched, we had over 3,000 people in the first 24 hours that it was out on Facebook.
We've put 2 of them on Facebook now, and it's gotten thousands of views, and that's very cool. We're like, we should have done this earlier. If only we found John a year ago when we started, we could have done this earlier. But
we'd have 10,000 views per episode.
1 million views per episode by now. It would exponentially get bigger. I can hear the brass band going right now. Man, they must be a big band because we can hear them all the way down here. That's very cool. It sounds like a school marching band kind of thing. So that's very cool. But yeah, people like watching stuff. That's what I've always learned. But forever, if you anything on social media, if you don't include a picture or a video, you might as well not even do it because that draws people's attention. So people like watching, and thank God for that. So keep watching and keep listening. We appreciate that. And If you've just found us because of the videos, you can go back and listen to the old wonderful shows. We have 54 old shows they've stood the test.
And they're
of time.
numbered 1 through 55, so you can
stood the test of time. This news is like 10 months old. Why am I listening to this? No, but we appreciate that, and we're happy to have you either way.
I think the band might be marching through Denizens as we speak.
They might be. They are a marching band. They're not a sit-still band. I guess sometimes they sit still, but they must march as well. Did you ever play anything in a band? I forget.
Played clarinet in 4th grade.
Okay. There they are.
Oh, there.
I think. I hear them. They got to be here. Did you march with your clarinet?
No, I never got far enough to do anything like that.
I didn't either. I always thought if I was in a band, I'd play something small, not the tuba or the big bass drum. All right. John has turned the camera to find the band. They are in the house right down here. John's father is pointing out where they're going. There they are. This is very cool. I think you could hear them coming through on the audio. It'd be hard not to. But
yeah, you're going to be able to hear them.
There they are. There's the band. They're coming. There's a tuba and a clarinet. They must be sweating like crazy because I've sweat through. I was telling John before I got here, this is my 3rd outfit of the day because I had to sweat through 2 different things today. It was brutal, brutally hot, and they're outside in like full uniforms too. They got hats going and the shirts and outfits. So it's a warm day at Denizens, but that's why you got the beer in the beer garden to forget that it's that hot today. And there they're going. They are marching with the trumpet and the trombone. That's it. That's a trombone, the slidey one. I know my instruments, I guess. So I will try to go on with the show despite the loudness.
I think we need to probably cut this part out.
Maybe. We might have to.
We'll just cut it out.
I guess so. Oh, they're moving away, so I guess we're fine now.
Dan's going to hop on for 5 minutes.
All right. The one and only Dan Reed. No, this is good. People love this kind of stuff. I'm telling you. It's like we used to do this thing on Zaven's show where, every show is like, welcome back, we're going to break. We didn't do that. We'd just be talking as the segment started. So someone's like, so it would sound as if, whoa, they came back early and they're already talking. I missed something. No, it's the Andy Kaufman of the kind of effects.
I'm going to read you a book.
Exactly. Exactly. Andy Kaufman would like to intentionally distort the TV, like the vertical hold on TV. He's like, no, I want it that way. I'm like, genius. So we'll see if this makes it to air in the video or not. This is fantastic. That's a big band. I wonder where else the Naptown Brass Band plays. They must play other gigs in town and other events because they are rocking. We'll have to ask Julie. Where do you get this band? They're fantastic. And I hope they're paid by the band, not the member, because as my friend who's in a band said, I only have 5 members because 6 would be more expensive because you got to cut the money equal ways. He's like, I do it myself, but I don't know how to play 4 other instruments. So
this is bad. I can't even concentrate.
You can't concentrate? It's all right. I don't know what they're playing. It's some sort of old song or patriotic song. I'm not sure. But we're rocking along. We're rocking along with the Naptown Brass Band.
We can do the openings and closings.
That's right. We'll do the openings and closing while we wait for Dan. Then we'll
so
talk
Duck
to him.
Donuts temporarily closed. They opened their first MoCo location in Rockville, have since opened a location in Gaithersburg, but they've temporarily closed their location in Rockville. Now, when it happened, a couple people reached out and told me, I went this morning, and it was open.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was something like abrupt But Gaithersburg, whoever answered the phone there, I asked to speak with a manager, and the manager said, I have no idea if they'll reopen.
Really?
So it was like a strange situation.
I wonder if it was like a power outage or computers were down or something.
It seems to be more than that because they're still
found
closed.
Piles of rats in the donut mix or something.
I don't think that.
No, that wasn't it.
But they're still closed, so it might be something a little more serious.
I don't know. Yeah, I love Duck Donuts. When we worked in Rockville, I went there once a month. I mean, I probably went there 50 times over the years that we worked there. Delicious. I mean,
donuts are good.
The donuts are good. You order them, your own exact preferences. I mean, I like any donut. Chocolate, sprinkles, filling, whatever. But yeah, you can order exactly what you want. So for the sake of the public, we hope Duck Donuts fixes whatever's wrong. Pray for Duck Donuts.
And Charming Charlie recently filed for Chapter 11, and USA Today reported that they would be closing all their stores.
200 something.
200 some. There's only one in Montgomery County. It's in Rio.
Wow.
It's in Rio, across from it's kind of right off the boardwalk a little bit in a corner.
And they're like a fashion and accessories kind of store?
Yeah, it's a women's fashion and accessory store, and everything in there, like when I walk in there, it's like color-coded. So it's like a blue section, a green section, a tan section, a pink section.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Since I always wear either blue or gray.
You know exactly where you go.
I would be set with Charming Charlie's, but I guess not charming enough for some people because they had to close. All the stores at once, that's tough because it's hard to lose all your stores nowadays. You either close a few and try to consolidate or declare bankruptcy by keeping them open and borrow money, which a lot of stores do.
In 2017, they closed like 100 of them. So they had like over 300.
Okay. Wow.
So, who knows?
Yeah, I guess Amazon is killing their business because that's where I buy my fashion accessories. I'm afraid Amazon. I had never been into Charming Charlie, so too bad for them. That sucks for them, and the thousands of people who work at those stores can't be happy. But
so on Thursday, I visited Cooper's Hawk Winery. They had me come in for like a early dinner, late lunch type of thing. And I was able to sample their food and their wines. I'm not a wine guy, so their wine tasted like wine. Some people really like it. Their food was really good, though.
Okay.
So what's different about Cooper's Hawk Winery and Restaurant is that they don't have cooks. They have a chef at every restaurant, like actually, preparing everything from scratch. It's not like this is, it's not like an assembly line type of thing.
Really?
It's a chef rather than a cook.
And do they have like the wine selection on the?
They have like a winery. So when you walk into the restaurant, the first part of it is like a tasting room, and it's a very big area, and so you get to hang out there. So if you're waiting for your table, you're in the tasting room, which is bigger than like a bar area. It's just a big area, so you're able to taste wines while you're waiting,
and you can buy those wines separately as well.
Yeah,
like our friends at Knowles Station, I guess, that have like a separate kind
but much bigger. I mean, this is
really?
It's more of a restaurant, whereas Knowles Station is kind of like a beer and wine first.
Right.
So this is like a restaurant with a winery in it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we're, as I've said last week with Julie, I'm not a wine connoisseur, and I don't know if you know your wines very well, but it's tough. But that's cool, very very cool. Maybe we'll go out there for the show one day. Now this store I thought was pretty cool. Purple Narwhal Music and Manga.
Yeah,
what a name.
They closed. They used to be in Rockville, somewhere else in Rockville. They're opening now in their new location in Rockville. I have it over on Twitter and Instagram if you want to see it. I don't remember the address off the top of my head, but
they're the only Purple Narwhal Music and Manga if you Google that. So,
that's right.
I Googled what the heck that was because I didn't know. And Purple Narwhal was like some anime figure. So and manga is some type of Japanese anime or Japanese comic books, I think. So very cool. It's
they have like the old records and
they had all sorts of vinyl and DVDs and stuff like a regular music store, but they've got anime and stuff like that. And much like we talked about Garfield and Heathcliff last week, a little different, but in the same kind of vein.
We had a Garfield fan comment.
Yeah, my friend Dave, from Tom Hucker's staff, Dave Kuhns. It's a Garfield guy. He's
I
Team
replied
Garfield.
with a picture of Heathcliff, which was cool.
Yeah.
So Shilla Bakery in Montgomery Mall closed.
Shilla.
It opened in December of 2017, so it lasted about a year and a half. It's a popular bakery that started in Northern Virginia. They have a Rockville location still. So if you miss Shilla, you can head on over to the Twinbrook location.
Bakeries have always been interesting to me because I'm like, it's tough to make a living on bread. It takes time to bake. You sell it for like $3. It's not like McDonald's, It's good. A lot of bakeries. There's one in the not Federal Plaza, the Micro Center Mall. That's like a bakery. They have bread, and it's delicious, But it's just a tough business to not because some people will go for the bread and muffins and all Danish, all that stuff. But it's tough to be a standalone bakery these days.
It is.
Every grocery store has a bakery, and their stuff's good. We bought a cake at Safeway. It's delicious.
But the thing is with grocery stores is that I go to that bakery because I'm in the grocery store.
Right.
Going specifically to a bakery is not something I've done.
It's kind of like having a deli nowadays. I mean, there used to be like a butcher shop because that's where you got your meat. And I guess there still are some, and you can get your meat there, but it's in the grocery store, and we get occasionally. My girl's like, "Get me a half a pound of salami when you're at the Giant." I'm like, "All right." So I go to the deli and half a pound. They always ask you if what kind of slice you want, thick or regular or thin. I'm like, regular. Do you want to try it? I'm like, no, I know what it tastes like. But a lot of people try new stuff, I guess. But yeah, so the delis and bakeries, grocery stores have kind of cornered their market on those, and they employ people who know what they're doing. My buddy Brian's a slicer, a meat guy. He knows his meat at a Shoppers. And
the band just played Ric Flair's theme music, by the way.
Oh, nice.
That was just on.
All right.
Sorry to interrupt. My head was just over there.
All right. I can't hear much.
And not anymore. And now
it's hear the loudness. They're still parading around. They're marching. All right. So they're all in it looks like naval type uniforms with the Navy hats. It's I guess just a Navy hat. It's called. I don't know. And the Navy, my father-in-law's in the Navy. If he hears, it's like, you idiot, don't you know what these are called? Navy hats.
It looks like Dan Reed's joining us shortly. He just asked me for our location. But really quick before, I want to mention Sidekicks because I was in the mall, Montgomery Mall, walking, and there's a group of kids, like 4 kids. They're about 17 to 20, and they asked me if I wanted my shoes cleaned, and I was like, no, I'm good, man. He was like, please allow me to demonstrate this for you.
There's Dan Reed, the one and only. All right.
Dan, what's up? We're getting you a chair right now. Our intern, John's handing
John he's giving you the seat off his butt right now. Come join us, Dan. Good to have you on again.
All right.
Welcome. The third time for Dan Reed on the MoCo
Glad
Show.
To be here.
We love it. Are you enjoying the Denizens 5th anniversary bash?
Yeah, it's a trip. It is weird to think it was 6 years ago that I first met Julie Verratti and learned her dream of opening a brew pub in Silver Spring, which at the time seemed so off the wall that I couldn't fathom it. And here we are. Not only is Denizens here and a raving success, but it has spawned a whole ecosystem of other brew pubs.
Right.
So.
I mean, the brewery business is bursting in Montgomery County. Yeah. It's everywhere, And you told her, I remember 6 years ago, you said, for the 5th anniversary, we better get the Naptown Brass Band because they kick butt, and they really do. They are fantastic.
They are good.
They must be warm, as I mentioned. Yeah. They got to be warm today, but very cool. And we got the drag show coming up. We got the DJ coming up here. It's very cool that they've packed.
And it's a packed house.
It is a packed house. For the 5th anniversary show. So what else is going on, Dan, in the Dan Reed world today?
Oh gosh, well, keeping busy, writing stuff. Look forward to having some big blog posts out this summer. I'm super pumped because this year is the 15th anniversary of downtown Silver Spring opening. So I've been trying to think about how best to do a retrospective of this really transformative place, but also an important place to me because I was a senior in high school when it happened, and it totally changed like where we hung out, but also like how I related to Silver Spring, which is a place that we just didn't really go to very much.
Right.
I went to Blake, and we hung out in Burtonsville, or we hung out in Olney, or we hung out in somebody's basement. And finally, downtown Silver Spring was a non-basement, the only location where we could go, which is transformative to
It is.
so many kids.
I grew up in Four Corners, and my grandparents lived in the Blairs when we lived there. So 40 years ago, when we used to come here, there was nothing. There was very little that, and you see it now. And I remember asking Julie when we got here the first time, like, what was here before? She's like, 12 things have been here before. She started naming them. I'm like, I didn't even remember that. And
I remember coming to a very empty sports bar that was here.
She did say there was a sports bar, yeah. Sports bars are tough to maintain, but
they are.
But this has been cool. So we're happy to be here for Denizens' 5th anniversary bash.
Dan, I wanted to ask you, you recently moved to Rockville.
That's right. Or as my partner gives our actual address, North Bethesda or Rockville, Maryland.
and it is, right? I don't remember who you were responding to, but you said something about like you're one street over or something like that.
That's right. The city of Rockville starts like just past where we live.
Okay.
So
you're not in Rockville proper, huh?
That's right. And we're definitely not in Bethesda.
Okay.
So
it's North
what's
Bethesda.
interesting? Fogo de Chao markets online themselves, the Pike and Rose location, as Bethesda.
Really?
Not even North
North?
Bethesda, which a lot of people would have been angry. They just straight up went with Bethesda.
Huh.
So they didn't say Rockville, which kind of shocked me. And I found this out because I called to verify this like $39 deal they have, and it goes to like some central number, and they were like, "Oh, would you like to speak with a Bethesda location?" And I was like, "I guess."
Do you have a North Bethesda? I guess they want to play off of the cachet of Bethesda outside of the market, I suppose. I guess people know of that, of the success and prosperity of Bethesda.
I guess. Who knows?
And maybe North Bethesda is too confusing. Like, North Bethesda?
Well, there's no North Bethesda exit off the Beltway yet.
No, there isn't.
But there isn't. My school that I work at is North Bethesda Middle School, but it's in the northern part of Bethesda. It's in Bethesda, but like the northern part, so it's literally called North Bethesda for good reason.
Right.
All
right, so Dan, I don't know how long you want to stick with us. You can stay however long you want. We don't want to intrude on your party.
A few minutes.
All right.
Dan, did you know Warren Crutchfield?
I knew of him.
Okay. So the next topic we're going to discuss is Warren, and I met him last September. I went to the Sandy Springs Slave Museum, and they brought him in as they knew I was a PE teacher, so they were like, he was also a PE teacher. They wanted me to talk with him, and I did. And at the time, I didn't know that he was the first black coach in MCPS history. So we talked for a little over an hour. We sat down. I had like a couple interview questions that I came up with really quick, but we ended up just chatting, and I told him, I'm going to be taking notes while we talk. And he was like, go ahead. He was like, I know how you all do it. So I was just taking notes while we were talking. And his life was unbelievable. He was born and raised in Rockville. He lived in Rockville almost his entire life. He went to the military. He said, I visited Uncle Sam, were his exact words. Came back, and he said he had finished college at Maryland State, which is now Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
And he had gotten his degree in PE, and when he got back from Germany, he got a job as a traveling PE teacher in Montgomery County.
Huh.
So he was at Monocacy, Clarksburg, and Rockville, and he was going around those three areas.
So PE wasn't like a permanent class every day for kids,
I guess not. I guess. This was back in the 60s.
Right.
I just imagine like Kitch Mister being like, oh, here comes the PE man. Come to teach us how to use the basketball.
So you dribble this way, son. Oh,
that's probably what it was like.
Maybe.
You don't use that left hand. Just, right hand only.
I remember PE from when I was a kid. It was. I bet the focus now on keeping these kids actually fit is more, because it's more about diet for kids in school.
It's giving kids the skills necessary to remain active for a lifetime.
Right.
So we're not just playing Red Rover.
Right.
We
played a lot of dodgeball, scooter hockey.
Yeah, no dodgeball where it's just like
I'd get a candy bar before and after PE. Because I'm like, I I got to get my energy.
It's more
going.
about like teaching kids how to move, how to use equipment, how to do certain exercises, how to do skills that are used in multiple sports. So you can throw a ball. Chances are, if you can throw one ball, you'll get how to throw another. Now
right.
It's very different to throw. So that's kind of what we focus on. We still play sports, but it's a different focus. It's
and
no
some
longer
of the life lessons, like losing's okay, kind of thing.
Especially if they're playing against their teacher.
That's right. Mr. Saronis never loses kids. Don't forget that. But yeah, cool that you got to meet him and sit down with him.
Yeah, I wanted to share. The one story I wanted to share was that he said he was coaching cross country at a time, and he said there might have been one kid on the whole team that wasn't white. So the school would get calls. This was Sherwood High School. Would get calls saying, "Why is that black man running with all those white kids?" And sometimes they would say, "Why is he chasing them?" Because he'd be behind them trying to keep pace. And then another funny story was that he said that there was orchards all around Sherwood. So they would be taking
forest, they would call it.
They would be taking apples, peaches, the kids, him, everyone. And the principal called him in and said, right after practice, and said, "Hey, what do you know about these kids taking the fruit off all these trees?" And he said, "I have no idea, but I'm going to talk with them right now." And he said, and he was trying to hold in his laughter. As soon as he walked out, he pulled all the fruit that he had in his own pocket out and made sure to put them in his bag. So great guy. I asked him his favorite restaurant. That's the thing I always ask people, and he said Silver Diner, because they have healthy stuff and it doesn't cost a lot. Those are his words.
That's good barometer.
Amazing man. And I loved the opportunity that I had the opportunity to meet him. Very sad that he's gone. His service is going to be this Thursday. We have it up on Facebook where you can go. I'm not sure off the top of my head exactly where it is, but it's Thursday at 5 o'clock in Rockville.
He sounded like a local institution and a legend.
Unbelievable, man.
Very cool. Something else that had its anniversary this week. Today's the 5th anniversary of Denizens. The 50th anniversary of Brookside Gardens was this week, and I was lucky enough to attend. And it was very cool. There were several hundred people there out in the beautiful gardens. They had County Executive Elrich, several council members, Mike Rowley from the Parks, Casey from the Planning Board, and people from the Park Foundation, who are the private nonprofit group to help support the parks. And it was beautiful, and they talked about what it meant to the county, and it really is a unique kind of thing that we have here of the 15 acres, I think, of gardens.
Did you visit the Goody Garden?
I think that's where they had the celebration, named after Goody Drive, I believe.
Not Goody Drive, named
Goody.
after Gilbert Goody.
Gilbert Goody.
Which Goody Drive was named after, but
okay.
He dedicated the garden to honor his father, Adolph Goody, and this was in 1972, October 31st, and Montgomery Parks tweeted that. They tagged me in the tweet, so I let everyone know about it, but it's cool to see those names, like the Goody name. A lot of times people don't know where it comes from, but it was Brookside. So you grew up in not too close, but somewhat close to Brookside Gardens. Was that like your park of choice out of the bigger ones?
We didn't really go to Brookside Gardens a lot when I was a kid, but we did go to Wheaton Regional Park, which is next door, and they had those big slides.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly unclear if they have replaced the slides with smaller slides or if I have just gotten bigger. But that is an investigation I will need to do.
The slides were awesome, both there and at Cabin John. And if you don't know, our intern John is he conducts the train at Cabin John.
That's right.
And who does it at Wheaton? And his dad conducts the train at Wheaton.
No way.
It's a family thing, so if you ever want to ride, mention the MoCo Show if John or his dad are there.
The Lynch
and
family,
they'll let you on
John
with
Sr.
that.
and John Jr. are the train guys in the county. That's unbelievable.
Dude, what's the litter eater's name at Wheaton Regional? Because there's Porky the litter eater at Cabin John, but Wheaton has a pig as well that eats litter, but he has a different name. I think it's Billy the litter eater.
I honestly don't pay attention where I put the trash, provided it is in a can.
All right, well, there's a pig that eats it. And
Only
there.
you can prevent forest fires, Alex. No, that's what's his name? Not McGruff. That's the crime dog. Smokey. Yeah. Smokey prevents the forest fires, right? So whenever someone big comes to the county, we like to point it out. And whatever you think of her, AOC is coming to the county to be at Jamie Raskin's rally. It's Thursday the 18th. She'll be right here in the Silver Spring Civic Center and with Jamie Raskin. So celebrity coming to town.
When I tweeted it, I had my replies ready. When someone was going to be like, "Why would you tweet it?" Because she has 4 million followers on Twitter. That's why.
Maybe she'll retweet it.
That's why. It doesn't mean I support it. It doesn't mean I oppose it. I'm just letting you know.
Maybe she'll come on the MoCo Show. I don't know.
Well, she wanted to, but we were all booked. I told her Dan has first dibs. AOC, you can maybe come on later.
This is a very difficult appearance on the MoCo Show.
That's right. Dan's always welcome. He's always welcome. He actually accosted us to come on today. He's like, "I'm here at Denizens. You guys are here. I'm coming on."
He grabbed me on the way in.
I can make or break you.
No, you're nothing without me.
I will have to make my departure. It is always good to see you.
Thank you, Dan. We love having you.
And take care.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good seeing you.
There he goes. Dan Reed, leaving the show, just up the pike himself. Dan Reed is there.
You know what's interesting is that substitute teachers. We talked about this a couple months ago.
Yeah, when
lowering the expectations.
Right.
For what? Not expectations. Requirements.
The expectations are be there. So, I saw the story. I think our friend Caitlin from Bethesda Beat put this out about how every day there's not every day, but at some point there's over 100 spots not filled because of a substitute not being available. So they talked about loosening the requirements. Right now, it's that you have to have a bachelor's degree, and they're going to change it to that you can have an associate's, or even just have 60 credit hours of college.
Or if you kind of like kids.
If you like kids.
You kind of like kids, you could be a sub.
So you told us before how the system works. As a department head, you're notified if anyone in your department, they contact you, right?
No, well, my department, this is because we're friendly.
Right.
They'll text me and say, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I won't be in tomorrow," just so that I kind of know ahead of time.
Okay.
But they have to put it into the subsystem. The subsystem then shoots that message out to every sub that has signed up to substitute in that area. So it's some people get the call still, some people get texts, some people get emails, but it says there's a job available at North Bethesda Middle School from 7:45 a.m. to 3:05 p.m. or whatever the hours are, and it's do you accept?
Right.
And now my school is a school that doesn't have too much trouble getting substitutes, but sometimes there's schools that are considered, that have maybe more behavioral issues, and where I worked before, the alternative program, substitutes weren't lining up to come sub there. So if you were out, it was kind of on your coworkers to figure it out. Now, here's the thing. If I have to cover a class for one of my coworkers, and it's a PE teacher, no problem. But if I'm covering a math teacher's class, it's just not going to be the same. They could have amazing sub-plans, and I can execute them. It's just you're not getting the same thing from me, and you might not be from a substitute teacher either. So we got to maybe figure out
Yeah, I was going to ask. Do some subs have math skills and are more apt to cover that class? Because I would imagine a lot of subs probably can't teach 12th grade math to some kids because it's beyond their level of math. If
it doesn't work that way. So we've had 85-year-old substitutes that could barely move pick up PE jobs,
right?
And no offense to them, but it's more difficult. They just can't do it physically, and it's kind of a burden on the rest of us because we have to kind of make sure the kids are behaving for them and taking care of our class. But no, for example, when I was a substitute teacher for a month after I graduated college.
Oh, okay.
Prior to getting a job with MCPS.
Oh, okay.
And I substituted for a history class, and I was just going in there and doing what they asked me
All right,
to.
Kids.
But
Heads down.
I didn't have to brush up on my history before I went.
Right.
Now, if you're a long-term sub, you have to sit down with a department head and they kind of get you ready and get you in the mode. But
yeah, if there's maternity leave planned or something, I'd imagine that they bring someone in who's I guess is a substitute, but sometimes it's for a whole semester. Or 2 or 3 months.
The difference is I think if you sub for a day, it's $120. But if you're a long-term sub, it's $170.
Okay.
So if you're there for more than 9 days in a row, I think it becomes, or 11. I don't know the exact number.
So this seems like a great idea. Just on the surface that. more subs would be available. I imagine that people were not being able to be in the sub database because they didn't have bachelor's degrees, and there's plenty of people capable of being subs who have associates or just some college.
Now, I mean, listen to I have friends that are servers, and some of my friends that are servers on a weekday will make $70 working a shift on a weekday. Imagine if they subbed in the morning and made a guaranteed 120, they could either take a day off or not rely on tips as much that night. So if they have a bad night where they only made $45 on tips, they still had that morning of substituting where they brought in 120. Or, I didn't have a good night last night, I'm going to pick up a sub job in the morning. And it just it gives a lot of people the opportunity to kind of try something out. And that could lead to more teachers, too. I mean,
definitely.
You end up liking it.
And I guess if you're a sub who is respected and used a lot around different places, that might help you get a job in MCPS at some point. They're like, oh, this person's been a sub for a couple of years, gone to 10 different schools. They can do it. So, I mean, that seems like a good idea, and hopefully that turns out well. Speaking of schools, we have a lot of changes at the principal level. 3 schools named new principals this week. Damascus, who was
Kevin Yates, he was already there.
Already the interim principal was named principal. He's been a MCPS guy for like 25 years, I read.
He commented on the MoCo Show page, on the Facebook page.
If he knows what's good for him, he better like that and retweet it.
A lot of people, I'll tell you what, I have not seen more kind words for principals than I saw on this post that I made. And I only do like high schools because obviously I can cover elementary, but high schools are kind of broader. But I'd say 99% of the comments or replies were very positive and supportive of all the principals.
I would imagine that principals are either assistant principals somewhere else, or principals at a smaller school, or principals at elementary and middle schools and kind of move their way up. It's like coaches, you start as a high school coach and try to get to college, maybe the pros. So,
well, Kevin Yates was the principal intern at Julius West when everything happened at Damascus.
Okay.
And they kind of moved him into the role, just, I guess, threw him into the fire, see if you could do it. And he could, and he got the job permanently. And Mark Carruthers got the job at Poolsville. Mark Carruthers, I met him once. In fact, he was a principal. He was an assistant principal when I taught summer school health at a high school. Don't remember which high school. He was like Wooten. Richard Montgomery was one of those, but I taught high school health in the summer, and Mark Carruthers came in and did my observation.
Okay.
And I just remember, after, when I spoke with him after the observation, I was like, this is a really good guy. Even like the one thing, like everyone has to tell you that you need to work on, didn't come off as a negative. He said it in a way. So I was like, this guy's good. So I'm glad he got that Poolsville job. And Dr. Christine Handy, formerly principal at Gaithersburg, is now the principal at Einstein.
Cool.
So very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton of work to be a principal. We talked about this before, that
you're there all day.
You're there all day. You're responsible for everybody. You don't get a summer break for 2 weeks, 2 months, like a lot of teachers love getting and do. And when department heads don't get those breaks either as much as non-department heads do. But yeah, principals is a full-time job.
And everything falls on you ultimately.
Yeah, it's like being the coach of a team. If some player screws up, it's on you. So Godspeed to Kevin, Mark, and Christine for their futures. I'm sure they'll do well. I guess the Board of Education interviews them, vets them, knows them, right? So yeah. I think it's a detailed process, and you got to be very experienced to be an MCPS high school principal. I doubt anyone who's like 25 is now a principal. He goes, hey man, what do I do here? Hey kids, go screw something up. No, so that's very cool.
I was the youngest department head, physical education, PE, health, resource teacher or content specialist, department head in the county when I first became a department head. I think I was like 26 or 27.
Wow, really?
And then I got replaced as the youngest by Brittany Trail, who ended up, she's still a PE teacher. She's no longer a department head. I think she stepped down for one reason or another, but she ended up being my instructor at Orange Theory when I went in one of my classes. So she also does that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But
interesting.
Yeah.
See, she's got dedication to the fitness. So as you said last week, you started the Orange Theory, and you've been to 5 classes already.
5 classes already, as you can tell.
Yeah, you're already ripped.
I'm in great shape already.
Right.
I'm going to be going on. So I'm going on vacation Thursday. My last class is Wednesday, and I'm going to do a weigh-in that tests my body fat and all that stuff. So we're going to see. And by then, I will have had 8 classes down. So we'll see where I'm at after 8 classes.
And how are the classes going? Are they brutal? I mean, physically?
They're so bad.
Yeah.
So today,
you sore? I had to carry you in from the car.
My legs are jello.
Yeah.
I was in Olney today. I've been to Potomac. I've been to Clarksburg and Gaithersburg. And tomorrow I'll be at Silver Spring. So I've hit them all.
All right.
Tomorrow, I'm so happy that tomorrow's I'm doing 2 on, 1 off. So it's
wow.
When it's my second one, I'm like, oh, at least I get a day off after this. So we'll see how it goes. They are intense, the workouts, and I could barely walk sometimes after.
Well, you're going to Florida and New Orleans for a week, as we've said. So hopefully it doesn't reverse all the effects for that week. Or you've held it off. You did a little preemptive working out.
Well, I'm going to go to Orange Theory down in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I'm going to hit one down there.
Nice.
So we'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, we want to thank Denizens for having us out here at the 5th anniversary. Packed house in the beer garden, in the upstairs, the downstairs for the 5th anniversary. Thanks to Julie and Sabra for having us out. As you heard, the Naptown Brass Band playing behind us and marching in front of us. And a fun time to another 5 years and many more here at Denizens. And hopefully we're back soon. And thanks to Dan for hopping on, taking time out of his leisurely evening and just enjoying the festivities for jumping on with us. We love Dan. Appreciated him coming on. And we'll talk to you next week.